In today's video, we're going to be talking about what the asteroid Chiron represents in your own birth chart. Hi, I'm Charlie Starr. The video you are about to watch is part of my free course, How to Read a Birth Chart. And now, back to this video. Hey everyone, welcome back. We're going to start by looking at the astronomy of Chiron, the asteroid. Then we'll be taking a look at what is the mythology of Chiron all about. Then we'll answer the question, what does Chiron mean or represent in the birth chart? And finally, I'll be sharing some examples. Okay, the astronomy of Chiron. Chiron is an asteroid that was discovered in 1977. The number assigned to this asteroid is the number 2060. Chiron's orbit is elliptical. It orbits the sun, but it's between the orbit of Saturn and the orbit of Uranus. And because what it looks like is because of its gravitational pull towards the planet Uranus, the orbit is elliptical, meaning that it doesn't go around the sun in an exact sphere. So what that looks like in astrology is that the Chiron asteroid is going to spend unequal amounts of time through each sign. The origin story of Chiron is that Kronos, otherwise known as Saturn, mated with a nymph, and when he did so, he was in the form of a horse. So that when Chiron was born, Chiron was half man and half horse, which is known as a centaur. His mother, Philra, I believe her name was, rejected him because she thought that he was ugly and essentially left him to die. He was taken under the wing of the sun god Apollo and his sister, the lunar deity Artemis. They taught him many, many things, and in some versions of the story, Chiron becomes their teacher. Chiron becomes known as an astrologer, a philosopher, a teacher, and an herbalist and a healer. Chiron goes on to become the teacher of many gods, goddesses, and demigods. And unlike the other centaurs who had a reputation for being rowdy and kind of like ruining a lot of wedding parties with their debauchery, Chiron was distinguished and well respected as a wise elder. The story ends when Chiron is accidentally with an arrow that's been poisoned and he can't save himself. However, because Chiron is the son of a god, then he is immortal and he can't die. Eventually, he trades in his immortality and begs Hades to let him enter the underworld. And there's different stories about how he gives up his immortality and chooses to die. Just like with Black Moon Lilith, understanding what Chiron means in your own personal birth chart is going to start with asking the question of where is your inner Chiron? If we're looking at the birth chart from a psychological internal perspective, we have to ask ourselves, where does that story resonate? Because Chiron is symbolizing in this story a teacher and a healer, but a healer who has a wound himself that he's not able to heal, then the question becomes, where am I able to heal people and where have I been wounded myself? The answer is going to be where your Chiron placement is. This is a point in the birth chart where you have been wounded. This is often the phrase used here is a wound that will not heal. Where have you had a wounding, a painful experience? Remember, Chiron was rejected by his mother because she thought that he was ugly because he was half horse. So it wasn't just a wounding at the end of his life when he died from the arrow, but it was also a wounding that he had early on in life. And what I've seen a lot of the time, this wounding is representing something from the childhood. And this is something that is painful. It often has to do with feeling rejected in this area and feeling sort of helpless or incapable in this sort of area of our own lives. This is also a wound that festers, right? Because this is a wound that Chiron suffered from for a long time because he was immortal and he couldn't heal and he also couldn't heal himself. So this is also going to be a painful area that is not very quickly or readily resolved or healed. In a lot of cases, this is something that we've tried to heal in the past. Maybe we felt like we resolved it, and then it kind of will crop itself up again in our lives. Because of our experience with our Chiron, this gives us a high level of empathy and compassion for people who we see that are going through a similar type of pain. This enables us to come in and be able to be the facilitator of the healing for other people in this area of life. You don't actually have to wait until you are healed in order to help people through this. A lot of the time when we have pain and we have a wound, especially when it's from childhood, it's integrated into our psyche in a way that sort of transcends what we know to be true. And so we're able to like consciously know the wrongness of what happened, and we're able to better support and facilitate the healing for other people, even though we haven't completed that process ourselves. We still know and understand what that maybe looks like or could look like. Because it's something that we know, like essentially like we know what words we needed to hear when we were going through XYZ. And so that makes us the one who is able to step in and support and help somebody else in going through the same thing. The example that I chose for Chiron is the example of a famous person who has Chiron and Aquarius in the 12th house. This placement indicates long-suffering pain that has to do with not fitting in, the pain of our uniqueness, and not being able to conform to the group that we identify with. So this is the chart of Ellen DeGeneres. And Ellen DeGeneres came out as lesbian really, really early. She risked her entire career for it, and she really put herself out there as unique, as something that was not mainstream, and she embraced it and she accepted it, and she was an example and an inspiration for many other people to do the same. It wasn't the easiest thing in the world for her to accept and then go public with her sexuality. And now this is something that Ellen really helps other people do, is like really celebrate their uniqueness, really boldly stand out from the crowd in whatever is different about them. Is something that she uses her show to heal other people with and help other people have joy in accepting themselves. And she does so through laughter, which I think is just such an air sign way of dealing with it. So if you have Chiron in an air sign, this may be a really good outlet for you, is to learn to laugh at yourself, learn to laugh at our own fears, to not take things so seriously is sometimes the best medicine, right? Like laughter is a form of medicine, and Chiron in your chart tells you that you are a healer, and we all are healers. We all have healing abilities within ourselves, and we all have the power to heal each other. So that's what I have to say. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you next time.